But now we are playing basketball now, so let's talk about some basketball. Two big games coming up on Saturday. First, number 2 Kansas goes to number 13 Kansas State. Kansas State coming off a big win versus Texas. Then they lost to Oklahoma State. So, Mike, who do you have in this one?
I think Kansas is the better basketball team. We talked about this earlier on in our first basketball show. Sharon Collins, Cole Aldrich, that core getting it done, and then reinstalling Brady Morningstar, getting him back in there, the Morris brothers, Tyshawn Taylor, and then the exceptional freshman, Xavier Henry. I mean, they've just got a very strong team, a very good package on offense and defense. They can play a half-court game. They can run. And when you've got Aldrich underneath who can just block everything and pull in 10 rebounds a game, I think they're the better team. Kansas State, obviously, has played well this year. The win against Texas was huge, but then the inconsistency with the loss to Oklahoma State. I think Kansas wins this game. And I know you like stats, Salzma. Kansas State has only beaten Kansas 4 times since 1990. So the odds are very much in favor of Kansas winning, despite the fact that it's in Manhattan.
Jordan?
I think Kansas wins this one as well. Kansas State has played well as of late until they lost to was it Oklahoma State this weekend. They had an impressive win over Texas, but now Kansas, they're kind of back where they feel they belong. They're the king of the castle in the Big 12 right now. Texas has lost, shown they're human, and I really think Kansas is going to win this game. And when you come down to rivalry games like this, when you have veteran players like Collins and Aldrich, they don't lose games like that. And for that reason, I think that Kansas is going to win.
Before you make your prediction, it's just, for me, I know this is a rivalry, the Sunflower Showdown kind of thing, but in basketball, it's not really a rivalry, at least not in terms of the results that come off the court. I mean, when you win 4 times in 20 years against your rival, is it a rival?
Well, for a while, it wasn't in football. I mean, either Kansas State, in Bill Snyder's first run there, he had, when he had quarterbacks like Michael Bishop, Al Roberson, those guys really took care of him.
Bob Huggins going there for that 1 year, then Frank Martin, the transition. That's when it's kind of become a rivalry again. But if they want to make it a rivalry, go and beat Kansas, then you can make it a real rivalry again, but it's not going to happen. I like Kansas winning this one, but I do want to acknowledge the fact that I think Frank Martin's doing a really good job at Kansas State. Last year, a little disappointing because they thought they were probably going to go to the NCAA tournament, went to the NIT, but then this year just having a terrific year. And to me, on the sideline, he kind of seems like a drill instructor. He's always shouting out. He has a lot of undisciplined players that just need to be molded into men. And he's always out there doing his job. I love him. I like Frank.
And I like that, he's winning now, having a successful season, gotten his team back in the top 10 without a superstar like Michael Beasley. He's a couple of years removed now, and he's shown that, he didn't just have one good season because he had one of the best players in the nation. He has a full team now.
Regardless, I got Kansas. Next one is interesting. It's not, you don't usually see in late January or I guess Saturday, end of January. You got Duke and Georgetown. You got the AC taking on the Big East, and it's in D.C., Jordan. Who do you got?
I think Duke wins. They showed that they can play on the road and win. And I just, we were talking, they were searching for that, first big road win, but they got it. Georgetown's playing good basketball right now, but I just think Duke has maybe a little bit more depth and will be able to pull this one off.
Mike, do you like Georgetown even after the kind of disappointing loss to Syracuse on Monday? Do you like them?
I actually am going to agree with Jordan and pick Duke in this game. Despite the fact that Duke's 1-3 on the road, they're coming off a good win against Clemson on the road. Shire, Singler, and Smith do a great job running the backcourt. The issue that Duke's going to have is in the front court with Greg Monroe against Zubek and Thomas. It's going to be interesting to see if Duke's big men can get in there, pull down the rebounds, make some plays. And that's what they've struggled with over the last couple of years. As we've seen, Duke's the kind of team that doesn't make it deep into the tournament because they don't have the play around the rim that they need, and it could hurt them in this game. But I think Krzyzewski's got the boys ready, and Duke's going to get the win. Close game, very close game.
You picked Duke, but you made my case for Georgetown. It's exactly those issues in the front court is why Georgetown's going to win, combined with the fact that Georgetown's very tough to beat in the Verizon Center. So, Mike, thank you for making the case for me. Georgetown's going to win. It's going to be another big out-of-conference win for the Big East. And down under, there's a little bit of – now, this right here, this is the actual bracket. If you've ever seen what a tennis bracket looks like, this is the Australian Open. I guess they call it the draws. They don't really call it the bracket. But There's been a lot of good tennis played so far, and even though the Americans haven't really gotten as far as we would have liked, at least we've seen Roddick make a run, and Isner, I think, I'm just going to start off the comments here about this tournament. Isner, I think, is a player of the future. I got to see him play a little bit in D.C. this summer. The guy's 6'8". The guy played a lot of college tennis at Georgia, and he just has, I think, one of the most powerful serves in tennis. You see guys like Murray, Nadal, and even Roddick talk about how this guy just has a great serve. And the thing is, too, is he has a serve that's probably as good as Karlovic's serve, but the thing that he does is he actually complements his game with other features that make him more of a complete player. And the guy is so young. I think the way when he progresses, I think he's even going to be, this guy has majors in his future, let's just say that. And he's young, so it's really just upward for him. And really the big match for me back at the U.S. Open when he beat Roddick, I think was his coming out party for everybody who didn't really know who he was. And then for him to beat Monfils in 4 sets, winning the 3rd and 4th set tiebreaker, so that was a great win for him. I mean, that's the kind of win that's going to give him confidence going into the future. I know he had a little bit of a disappointing match with Murray, which he lost the 1st set tiebreaker and then proceeded to not even win a set. But I think this guy got into the round of 16. He can be happy. And also, I think some of the other great matches that we've seen so far, Cilic Del Potro. Del Potro had wrist issues coming into the Australian Open, and a lot of people didn't even think he would even make it past the first couple rounds. Well, he had a pretty decent run, but he ran into Cilic, who's ranked 14th in the world. He's a terrific player, lost a 5-set, 4.5-hour marathon one to Cilic. So that's a really good match right there. And if you like marathon sets, Roddick Gonzalez is another great one. You got Gonzalez, who's up 2-1. He's hitting great forehand shots. He's getting a lot of winners. His second serve was really good. He was taking a lot of really aggressive shots on there. And then Roddick, 4th and 5th set, wins it. He's more conditioned. His serve was better, and that's what got him the win. And I think who's going to win? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say who's going to win this. And I got to say right now, we're taping this show on Monday night, so we don't actually know the results of the quarters yet, so it'll be the semifinals by the time you guys see this. But I'm going to go on a limb. I think Federer's playing good tennis, but I think Roddick is really hungry down under right now. Roddick should have won Wimbledon, and he did really poorly at the U.S. Open. And right now, he has a big old chip on his shoulder. And there's been a lot of times in this Australian Open which he could have folded, but he's come out, he's played good tennis, he's put mistakes behind him, and he hasn't played mistake-free, but he's getting the win. So I like Andy Roddick. So who do you guys like? And you know what? By the time this airs, he might have already lost to Cilic. But Cilic had to play a 5-set marathon match. Roddick had to play a 5-set marathon match. And who's better conditioned? Roddick. So I like Roddick to win it. And I'm an American, so I got to pick him. I'm patriotic.
I'm going to buy American, love it or leave it. Yeah. I'm going to go with Andy Roddick.
Ooh.
You know, guys, I'll tell you what.
I love that. I think we got to get T-shirts in the student section that says, like, Kinnick, love it or leave it.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it.
You know, Andy Roddick, as we talked about earlier this evening, he's done a great job of getting physically fit, getting into shape, really making himself the best player that he could possibly be. All these players that we're talking about have not had an easy road. Federer lost his first set of the Australian Open. He's kind of cruised a little more since then. But it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of this thing. It was nice. It's always nice to see an American beat a French player. You know?
Oh, yeah.
That just means something right here for me. Yeah. But anyway, I don't think Roddick is going to win this. I don't even know if he's going to get to the finals. I know this is the easy pick, but I think Federer, it's just so hard to pick against him. He's been in 17 of the last 18 major tournament finals. So it's tough for me to pick against him. I think he's better than Nadal on the hard courts. It's going to be interesting, to see how Murray and Nadal do against each other. I like Federer.
And I just went with the upset. I like to pick the upset. But I think Roger Federer is probably the smart bet. And I don't know if you guys remember from last year, but Roger Federer is usually pretty emotionless. He's a pretty cool customer, but he was in tears after losing that 5-setter to Nadal last year when he had legends like Laver there to present the trophy, and he wasn't the one to get it. You knew he was hungry, and that was kind of the low point for him last year. A lot of people thought he would maybe go through last year, not even win a major, but then he won the French, he won Wimbledon, and then he lost a heartbreaker in 5 sets to Del Potro at the U.S. Open. So he's hungry too. So I think Federer's probably the smart bet. I had to go Roddick because I love the country.
Hey, I'm pulling for him.
I'm pulling for him too. Yeah. I will admit I woke up 5 a.m. on Sunday to watch him play Gonzalez. So I'm pretty crazy when it comes to this stuff. I mean, we don't have another tennis major till June. I got to do this now.